Good morning. It's been a minute, like a real minute, like 3 months worth of a minute. Um, how are you? I hope everything is well. It's gonna be 99 degrees today. That's very hot for here, and I think I'm gonna stay inside for a lot of it. I have been working on my business, and by working on my business, I mean trying to figure out how to reach people to let them know that I have a business, which is readandreaptarot.com. I do tarot, channeling, and Reiki, distance Reiki, all in one session. And they're recorded, and I send the link to their video so they have it forever in perpetuity, or until the end of the world, the end of the internet. Um, the purpose of which is to help people ascertain how they're standing in their own way. Because it is my belief and Spirit's belief that until that gets figured out, nothing gets figured out. So if you're interested, go to readandreaptarot.com. Check it out. It's only 2 pages. Look it all over. There are reviews and an FAQ and a way to contact me if you're interested. So, what I've been thinking about a lot lately is ultimately non-binary. But on a micro scale, not so micro, but one aspect of that, well, let's back up in case you don't know what non-binary is. What binary is 2 options for any given thing: male, female, black, white, right, wrong, good, bad. And the fact of the matter is those are not the only options. And in many cases, those options are actually harmful. And I'll get into that. So if you are a person who's noticing that people are calling themselves non-binary, it means that they recognize that they don't identify as male or female, or choose not to perpetuate the stereotypes, honestly, that go along with that, regardless of what, regardless, I was going to say regardless of what your genitalia is, but that's sort of irrelevant in this case, I think. Um, it's irrelevant in this case. But even just that, let's talk about that. People who are born with penises being expected to be male and for that to look and behave a certain way. Therein lies the problem. If you are a person with a penis and you do not identify with all of the list of standards that have been imposed over millennia to say this is what a person with a penis looks like, acts like, and behaves like, that's not true. That list is not true. And to step away from that binary is non-binary. To recognize that that social conditioning box of this is what male looks like and this is what female looks like, and if you're somehow outside of that construct, you're doing it wrong, is in and of itself wrong. So I encourage everyone. And this isn't just, I don't think it's just for people who don't want to be referred to as male as female, because there's a lot of binary constructs that don't work, that haven't worked, and need to be shattered. And I know, if you've looked at any of my videos, I'm strongly advocating for people to consider the possibility that the social conditioning box is bullshit. And that we all need to look at it and we all need to step outside of it if we recognize that that box doesn't fit, which it doesn't for a lot of people. Just the sheer idea that we're supposed to fit into it is a construct that doesn't work. So, other aspects of binary are right, wrong. And what's becoming very clear to me is we are so geared and trained and indoctrinated into this idea that if I make you wrong about something, that innately makes me right. And that's not true. That just makes me making you wrong. That's true. But it doesn't make it true that I'm right, and vice versa. And I think if you can look at it from a micro, something as small as how you feel about how other people drive, they're doing it wrong, to atrocities. And I believe it's the same trajectory. Now, I don't really want to get into that, but I do think that people who commit atrocities are the same people who get mad at people for driving badly. They just maybe were raised in an environment that fostered the notion to the nth degree that you're so right that you can rationalize committing atrocities against people you think are doing wrong. That's the distinction. But I don't think the thought process is any different. So keep that in mind. That we are all capable of all things. We've talked about this. Nobody is better than anybody else. We all deserve to be here. We're all here. Honestly, let's, again, take deserve out of it. We're all here. We're here. What are we going to do? How are we going to help each other? Well, I think we're going to help each other by stepping away from these constructs, by allowing for the possibility that we've been doing it wrong. We've been doing it in a way that keeps us boxed in. The trajectory is slow and unimaginative, honestly. What would happen if every individual took responsibility for themselves, for what they have been presented as this is what life looks like and this is how it should go in order for it to work. And you stepped back and you went, everyone looked at it and went, you know what? No, a lot of that doesn't work for me. And I'm going to experiment with what life looks like, not falling for that bullshit. And it will cause change. It will cause some uncomfortable change. It will strain relationships. But I'll be honest with you, they're already strained, right? The fact that we have this idea that you have to, that relationships are meant for longevity, I don't think that's necessarily true. I really don't. I would much rather have short-term, real, genuine, authentic connections with people than long-term obligatory bullshit. Just because that's what we're supposed to do. That's what it means to be a good friend. No, it doesn't. Trust me, it doesn't. Having these misaligned thought processes is what causes us to do bad things, right? Right? Sorry. I have to get out of saying that. There's a lot of things we have to unlearn, a lot of things I want to unlearn. And these videos are the way I have to share these ideas to maybe help start a movement. Some kind of movement, some kind of awareness that we don't have to do it the way we've been told it has to be done. And I think that our lives would be better for it. I think that our relationships would be better for it. Our relationships to ourselves, our ability to love ourselves and set boundaries would be more effective, easier, more loving, and maybe even less necessary if we weren't all these little I don't know what I was going to say, but think of it as like a curse. It's a curse that's been imposed onto us that we perpetuate. That's the curse. We don't see it. So let's see it. Let's break the curse. I was thinking that somehow it's my job to break this curse, but it's not my job. It's everybody's job. It's my job to put it out there, to bring attention to it. Will it get shifted in my lifetime? I have no idea. I feel like it's happening. Again, if you've watched my videos, you know that I think the shift is occurring. In a lot of different ways, and there are people who are real pissy about it. Too bad, so sad. I'm sorry that the old white men are mad about it. I'm not sorry. We weren't put here to suffer. That wasn't the purpose. The suffering occurs because of these untrue, controlling constructs that have been put into our brain, into our DNA, into our way of living, that don't work. Also, something I've learning every day, is that if I practice not making people wrong, it allows me, first of all, it allows me some grace. It takes a lot of anger out of me. Trying to maintain this idea of right and wrong is exhausting. And I think we can all agree that there's been a lot of that going on, right? So, what would happen if we practice not? Practice not making people wrong. Practice catching yourself every single time you're imposing wrongness on someone else or yourself. What does that feel like? What does that look like? What happens? What happens for me is I go, but why are they wrong? Based on the idea that I have a knowledge of, say, the rule set of driving, and this person clearly is breaking that rule or doesn't care, makes them wrong. Well, in their world, it doesn't. In their world, they're right. Which begs the question, who's wrong and who's right? The establishment who created the rules, me who wants to follow them who doesn't want to follow them. Because I guarantee you there's subsets of rules out there that I don't follow that I'm sure people think is wrong. You know, I'm 49 years old. I've never been married. I've never had children. To a lot of people, that's wrong. To me, that's very right. And that's what matters. That's what matters. I think that what we're going to see in the next few years is a huge division, and we're seeing it. It's my prediction. We're going to have the people who want to maintain the binary, and I'll be quite honest with you, it's going to be real hostile and aggro because they're not going to be in alignment, and their dreams of being elite in perpetuity are being shattered. And then there's the rest of us who recognize that this was nonsense. I'm not playing. I want to see what the rest of my life is like, not abiding by those rules. I'm not saying there won't be issues, but I think they'll be easier to deal with because if you can see it from a different perspective, we should talk about perspective. We got to practice allowing perspective to be shifted. These people do not, right? These are the people in your family that refuse to hear anything other than what they believe, and what they believe is being told to them by Fox News and what have you, the conspiracy theorists, the religious nuts, the old white men, old straight white men. I would wager old straight misogynist white men. These people. I 100% forgot where I was going with that, but I'm already seeing a shift and a change in my perspective when I allow for the possibility that nobody is right and nobody's wrong. It's just their life. It's what they're doing. It's their trajectory. They're doing what they're doing based on what they've been taught, learned, and choose to believe. And how willing they are to experiment with perspective. Here's the thing with perspective. It doesn't automatically make you believe something different. Ideally, it would, right? Ideally, allowing yourself to see things from a different perspective gives you greater perspective on what you already believe. And yes, you might see something and go, oh, that's been completely off base. Now I have more information and I'm going to go with that. That would be ideal, right? If everyone did that. But you can't make everyone do that. Only you can do that if you choose. So that is my encouragement to you, is allow for the possibility of greater perspective, shining more light on what else is present. So yes, it does also mean being these people, looking at these people, and just, you do you, boo. You don't have to get involved. You don't have to spend time with them. You don't have to do anything in regard to them. That's the boundary, right? I don't care who this person is in your life. I've got people in my life who I choose not to spend time with because this universe doesn't work for me. So you don't get to spend time with me if this is who you are. And I think that needs to be okay. So that's my encouragement to you, to everyone, is practice considering the possibility that making other people wrong does not make you right. That perspective is everything. It's okay to learn more information and change your mind about something. And self-love really means staying out of other people's universes that are harmful. And they're allowed to be there. They're allowed to be there. So, and you're allowed to be over here and explore this universe. It's way more fun. I guarantee it. So, I hope this was helpful to you. I love you so much. Please be well.